On this episode of Geekly, I show you how to install a window manager to make your computer faster. And we play with a few little gadgets. Okay guys and girls, welcome to the third episode of Geekly. My hair kind of looks like a mess, but that's because I was wearing a hat that has suddenly gone MIA. I've been riding around all morning doing some photography and some video, and I decided to go ahead and come home and put together the third episode, so here it is. Hey gang, today we're going to install OpenBox, which is a really fast window manager. If you followed along and installed Elementary OS a while back with me, then you've probably been enjoying it quite a bit. But you know, sometimes we really want to get some speed out of our machine, and although Elementary OS is gorgeous and works great, sometimes we would like just some plain raw speed and simplicity. So just follow along, and we're going to do this real quick. This depends, you can do this on any Linux-based operating system. Elementary OS is based on Ubuntu, which is based on Debian. So I'm going to assume that you're on some kind of Debian-based system that uses the apt installation system. So in Elementary, we're going to go to Applications, Terminal, and we're going to do most of this at the terminal just because it's faster. Sudo. The sudo command basically tells the operating system that you are trying to do something as the super user, basically the system administrator. So sudo apt-get install. We're going to want OpenBox, OB menu, tint2, and nitrogen. Hit enter. Enter your password, and it will tell you how much space will be used. Hit yes, and I'm going to let it install. You know, I harken back to the days of classic Mac and Windows 3.1, and I remember how fast everything was. And that's why I like OpenBox, because it gives me that speed that I remember from simple operating systems. The problem now is that the hardware is faster, but we also have bloated software. So we see that that's done. Now again, this is dependent on your operating system, but what we're going to go ahead and do is just log out. Regardless of what distro you're using, just log out. There should be a way on your login screen to change to OpenBox as the session. Enter your password to log in. Boom. And as you can see, this is already fully configured, but I'm going to show you how to get it configured this way. This is already configured because I already have an auto start sh file. And let's go ahead and go to files. Now let me explain this to you. When you first start up OpenBox, you're not going to have this files menu right here. You're going to have web browser and terminal emulator. You're going to use terminal emulator to open your file browser. On Elementary OS, that is Pantheon-files, but on most other Debian and Ubuntu based systems, it's going to be Nautilus. Okay. The easy way to get this into your menu is to start off by, when you first install everything, to boot into OpenBox, type in OB menu, hit enter, and here you can see that you can edit your menu. What I've done is I've added a files item with the command to execute my file manager. I've also added one for change wallpaper, which I'll show you in a minute. So anyway, once you've got your file manager open, they default to look like this. No hidden files or folders shown. Control H will show them. To get things like this, I went into .config, and I went into OpenBox, and there was no auto start sh file here, so I had just created a new file called auto start sh, and I had to open it with my text editor. These are the commands that OpenBox will run when the system is started up in order to load extra programs. Tint2 is this program down here that you see working as a taskbar don't mind that. That's from my virtualization software. That's not part of the operating system. So as you can see, this is my taskbar with a system tray and a clock. The AND symbol is put after a space at the end of a line to tell it that it needs to load this program but then go on to the next line. We are also going to add in nitrogen space dash dash restore, and again with our AND symbol. Nitrogen is the app that loads our wallpapers. The reason we want it to say restore is the command that's going to tell it to go ahead and load up the last wallpaper that we had selected through it. So again, this is your auto start sh, and it should be in your home folder under the hidden folder config, open box, and here's your auto start sh. If you don't have that file, then OpenBox will not know what to load when you start up. Let me open my terminal menu, open menu, and as you can see here, I have added an item for change wallpaper. I listed it as change wallpaper, but you could type in whatever you want. You could, it's just a label, and it's just whatever shows up in the menu. And the command to execute is nitrogen, because nitrogen is the application that changes wallpapers. So you can see now that if I hit change wallpaper, apply, and that's my new wallpaper. Now for running anything else, you can use that ob menu command to change whatever's in this menu here. And you can make submenus and all those types of things I will touch on very briefly. As you can see here, you can make a new menu, which will make a submenu. Say for instance, you wanted to make a submenu called Video Tools for your video player, video editor software. You could make a submenu called Audio for your audio players, music organization, etc., etc. I'm assuming that if you're going to be playing with OpenBox that you know something about Linux and computers, so I don't feel that I need to explain all of this, nor do I feel I need to explain the terminal that much. obconf is where you can control the themes and appearance of the OpenBox itself. The window behavior, let's see, where is, you can change where the buttons are laid out. You can make them on the left, the right, you can split them across. As you can see here, it disappears, the X disappears, and then when I add it back in, okay. I like to, I can never find this. Let's see. What am I looking for? Please be on this thing. Exploding. I'm looking for a setting that I can't seem to find. So normally I like to be able to double click and make my windows shade. I'm not seeing that in here. I know it is in here somewhere. I just don't want to waste all your time looking for it. But regardless, here we have a working OpenBox system. There's not a lot to it. It's very simple. It's very fast. As you can see, you can get the maximum amount of speed out of your system because the window manager itself is only running about 7 megabytes of memory. So I hope you've enjoyed this little brief tutorial on OpenBox, and I may touch again on it in the future. Thank you for watching this segment. I hope you've learned something.
Here's the next segment. The next segment is coming on right now, yeah.
Okay guys, today we're going to play with some really fun camera equipment that can be had for not very much. Let's just say that you're a sporty type. Okay, you're not, but neither am I. I still felt that I had to have one. I wanted a GoPro camera. I figured that maybe, just maybe, someday I would be in some situation that I thought was sporty, and I would want to do something to show people. Well, I like the GoPros quite a bit, but there are a few things that are very off-putting about them. Primarily the fact that they do not use a standard tripod socket for mounting onto different surfaces. I do not like that because I'm a professional videographer and I have a bunch of mounts. I have the tripods and mini tripods and suction mounts and all kinds of things like that, and I didn't want to have to buy a bunch of new mounts. Also, the price. Obviously the GoPro Hero Black is quite expensive. It is a rather good camera. It's not as good as is made out to be. It's not a fantastic cinematic camera. What it is fantastic for the price that it is. For a $400 camera, it is astounding. And obviously for an action camera it is. But I managed to find something a good bit cheaper that still does what I need, because I didn't want to spend $400 on something that I'm not going to really use all that much. I managed to find right here a little JVC Addiction. This is the first model, and these can be had pretty cheap now, I believe under $150. And I have compared the footage with the GoPro Hero Black, and as long as the lighting is decent, the footage is quite similar. It's not exactly the same, but for most folks I think it'll definitely do the job. So let's go ahead and power it on. Just hold the button for a second. There you can see my camera filming me. It has menu buttons on the back. It can do photo or video. You can connect via Wi-Fi. I believe you can control it with your smartphone. I do not remember what the endless recording feature is, to be honest with you. You can change the video resolution. It does 1080, it does 720, and I believe it does standard definition as well. It has digital image stabilization. It has a time-lapse feature, which is very nice. You can point it at a horizon, get a nice sunset. It'll automatically make a time-lapse for you. That's pretty nice. All these buttons are rubber and ruggedized because this thing is waterproof. It's waterproof, shockproof, dustproof, and it's quadproof, so it's something else too. But basically, it's a pretty rugged little camera. You can invert the picture on the screen if you're trying to shoot from an odd angle, so you can see what you're shooting. It has a self-timer for taking photos. You can manually adjust the white balance, change the language, time setting, volume for playback, TV system, format the card, set everything back to default, or update it. Here it's got a menu button and a play button for looking at the files that you've shot. Let's go ahead and power it off. Again, you hold it for a second. It's got this nice little hatch on the back here that you slide and open, and it's got a little gasket which makes sure that it's waterproof. Your battery is back here. Let's just shake it out of there. That's your battery. This camera also can charge via USB and can connect to HDMI through a mini HDMI cable straight to your television, so that's pretty nice. I also picked up a few accessories for it very cheap on Amazon. Just a very simple little Zycos mini tripod, and this is great for going hands-free and just setting it wherever you need to get what you need. It's just a little flexible bendy leg system, nothing fancy there. I want to say it was like a $2 tripod. Again, that's pretty handy. And you see what I'm saying about the mounts is that it uses a standard tripod plate so that you can mount it onto your standard tripods, which in my mind makes it one of the best action cameras out there, because you can either mount it to your existing stuff like tripods, monopods, things like that, or you can just even make your own mount with a 1/4 inch bolt. So you can mount it pretty much anywhere. you're not limited by the mounts, which I found that with the GoPro system you're very limited with what you can do as far as the mounting options. I also picked up a little bag for it, which again was just a few dollars. Just to keep everything together, I usually keep some SD cards in here, which I didn't show, but the SD card is in here. And it uses a full-size SD card instead of a micro SD, which again is another big bonus because you can get a much bigger standard size SD card for a lot cheaper than the micros. I also picked up a couple of extra batteries off of Amazon, which again were extremely cheap. I want to say I paid less than $200 for the camera, the bag, the mini tripod, batteries, charger, card, everything. And I've got a nice little setup here for doing action shots. In fact, what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to move this way and I'm going to queue up, so we're going to figure out where to point, there we go. I'm going to queue up a video for you guys to watch that I shot with it. That was just a little sample of what you can do with an action camera. To be honest with you, I haven't made any other films with it yet, and I've had it for some time. It's not something that I use a whole lot, but it is a really neat toy, and you might get a lot of enjoyment out of having one. You know, what you can do with it is totally unlimited. I've seen people stick it on a monopole and get down low and get shots of their dog doing interesting things, or if you're a fisherman, you can stick it down in the water and get shots of you reeling in a bass, or you know, there's a lot of things you can do with it. I've strapped it on my car a few times. That's pretty fun. So now we're going to look at a couple of other little gadgets that are a lot of fun. When LED light panels first hit the market for video lighting, they were somewhere in the $300 to $400 range. These things were very, very, very expensive. And now they can be had off of Amazon for somewhere around $28. And take it from a professional videographer that is astounding, especially seeing as what they do. These things are incredibly bright. Why do we need these, you might ask? Well, years back, when you would go to an event, something like a wedding reception, typically the lights, the overhead lights like I'm using now, would remain on, at least through the formal things. And then sometime later in the evening, when everybody had some drinks, had their food, all of the formal events were over, and they started party dancing, well, that's when they turn off the lights, make it nice and dark. But now the trend is basically to make every wedding reception or other event look like a nightclub. Most places now are lit by something the equivalent of a few candles, you know, either some strings of Christmas lights or something like that, a couple of lights over by the bar, and the rest of the place is pitch black. And as you might know, a video camera works off of capturing light. In fact, let's see if I can find my switch back here. Can you guys see me? No, you can't. And you know why? That's because I turned off the lights. But now, what a surprise. I throw some light and you can see me. Where's that switch? So that's why these are a necessary piece of kit for any modern videographer, and a lot of photographers use them as well to help their cameras focus. Well, Great thing about these is they either run off of 6 standard AA batteries, or they'll run off of Sony camcorder batteries. I believe they also will run off of Panasonic camera batteries as well. I don't have any around to test. They come with a standard hot shoe mount that also has a tripod mount on the bottom, so that you can mount it onto a tripod and use it basically as a light up on a stand. That's very handy. They come with different colored gels. This is the pink one. They also come with an orange and a clear. And another interesting feature is the test light, which shows you how much battery power you have left. There is a dimmer switch, which goes from fairly dark to extremely bright. So again, these are incredibly important, and they work wonders. Even your cheap, I say cheap, let's see, let's get into video cameras. How much did you pay for your video camera? Yeah, it's probably not going to be very good in low light, because here's the deal, most cameras are not good in low light at all, no matter how much you pay for it. But really, until you hit at least the $600 mark, they're not just not good in low light, they're abysmal. Try turning off the overhead lights and going shoot in something that that you would think is relatively dim to your eyes, and you will see that the video quality is just absolutely atrocious. It's non-existent. So that's why these are important. So even if you have a video camera that's not top of the line, you can buy one of these for $20-something, mount it on top, and now you can shoot like a professional in dark places and really up your video, the quality of your final videos. The last little toy we're going to take a look at here is a little wheeled dolly. You might wonder what on earth you would want to use this for. Well, it's to get those really cool shots that slide like this. We've all seen them in movies. We might not have noticed, but we've seen them. So let's go ahead and take our little action camera out and shoot a little test sequence with it, shall we? I'm just gonna pop it onto here because it uses a standard mount. If I can get the thread started. There we go. Let's fire it up. Okay. It's ready to roll. And now I'm going to get down here and shoot a little test video with it for you. Hi guys. As you might be able to see, this thing is doing a dolly, which is pretty cool. There are a bunch of things you can do with this. For instance, you can change the angle of the wheels. Let's do that. You can change the angles of the wheels to where your camera will move at an angle. Let's make that more dramatic. See? And you can get some different motion out of your camera. And this will work with pretty much any video camera. In fact, it works better with small ones. But the good thing is that since it has a variety of different mounting holes, that you can even mount a good old-fashioned tripod head onto it, so that you can get different angles, for instance up, down. You can tilt it to the side. In fact, I've got one right here. And as you can see by the wear on this hole, I've been using this for some time with this tripod head. Let's go ahead and put that on there. There we go. Now, once we unlock it, we see that we have got some pivot. There we go. Or we can turn it this way. And this was a fairly cheap little tripod head, I want to say, off of eBay. It wasn't the best tripod, but it makes a pretty good head for this right here. So, I'm going to go ahead and take this light and this camera, and I'm going to go shoot in my dark hallway. First I'm going to show you what it looks like without the light, and then with the light, and let you be the judge as to whether or not a light makes a big difference in the quality of your videos. Let's be honest here, this was not the best episode I've done. I reused a clip from episode 2. I used some of the stuff I shot for the first episode, which wasn't that great. And I'm sure I goofed something else up too. Anyway, so it was a shitty episode. Well, next week it's going to be about cameras, and more cameras. So if you're interested in cameras, you might want to watch. Thank you for watching Geekly. Have a good night.